My name is Margit Link-Rodrigue. I'm a technical writer at Hallo Welt and as such responsible for documentation and training. Welcome to today's lunchtime talk. In the next 20 minutes, I will introduce you to our very interesting and popular application BlueSpice 4. I want to give you a first impression of this software so that you can see how flexible and professional a wiki is when it comes to supporting and even driving the knowledge management in your organization. What are today's topics? We will take a quick look at how you can apply your own corporate design in just 2 minutes so that you feel comfortable in the wiki right from the beginning, so to speak. Search is, of course, also an interesting topic. How does it support knowledge discovery in the wiki? Then I'll show you what different editing options look like. On the one hand, visual page editing, and on the other hand, editing pages with forms. What is also interesting in knowledge management is the distinction between knowledge base and management system, here abbreviated as Integrated Management System, IMS. Typical for BlueSpice are the options to organize the content in namespaces and books. And what is often important for a company wiki is the ability to give users different permissions. We are talking about roles here, which you then hopefully keep as open as possible in keeping with the spirit of the wiki. We call this the wiki way. And at the end, there will be a little time left to answer your questions. Let's start with customizing the user interface. There is a page for administrators here in the Global Actions menu called Skin. And this is a special page here. And first, I upload a logo and then a favicon for the browser tabs. I then use the logo colors as menu highlight colors. And maybe here I change the blue from the sidebar headings to a more neutral color with my red color scheme. So some sort of dark gray or black. And let's save it. And as soon as you save it, the changes are already live in the wiki. And already everything fits together quite well. I'll leave it at that for now and move on to the search. When I start a search, I can immediately see recent pages that I visited directly from my last search results. I now enter a search term and get up to 7 pages or file names as best matches, so to speak. From here, I can switch to the full text search by pressing enter, and it leads me to the search center. Here, I can apply numerous filters, for example, limit my search results to certain namespaces or certain categories. If you have several wikis or a wiki farm, you can also link them using an interwiki search. Here in the full text search, not only wiki pages are indexed, but also the contents of all your uploaded files. Now let's look at the first use case. The most general use case for a wiki is a generic knowledge base. I use the term knowledge base here to describe a central web-based system that categorizes and connects information so that it is easy to find and access by a specific group of people. Think of Wikipedia that is strictly a topics-based encyclopedia. Ideally, this knowledge base is always up to date because many people can easily create, monitor, and update this knowledge. Let's look at a customer example here. This is one of our customers, a digital marketing services company, and you can tell from the look of this wiki here that it is a BlueSpice wiki because they have here applied their own custom skin. Here we see simply that there are definitions of different terms related to marketing, and they are linked together with simple wiki links, and already through that mechanism, the knowledge becomes connected. In addition, all the pages here in this knowledge base are categorized by the authors, and at the bottom of the page you can see that there's also a template on each page that allows authors to point to related pages that could be useful to read next. So the effort for an organization to maintain such content can then be pretty minimal, and the knowledge base can still be successful as long as there are enough contributors and maintainers to keep the content alive in the long term. Starting with such a classic wiki concept, it then often leads to a high level of acceptance because the content is so easy to create and manage. But this knowledge base content is usually just part of a larger knowledge management strategy. So in the same wiki, you can also maintain your documentation around quality management, for example, if you're aiming for ISO certification or in general to maintain your business processes and work instructions, checklists, and so on. In the context of quality management, there is a strong focus on the document lifecycle to achieve a continuous improvement of your processes, for example. Characteristics here are that a document owner is always designated, the document is checked regularly and therefore has a validity date, which can be generated automatically based on the last approval date or can be set manually. And also sometimes documents are associated directly with an official standard, such as ISO 9001 or something similar. Usually here content also has to be approved before it is valid, and that can be done manually, or in some organizations it is done through workflows that are built into BlueSpice so that you can apply a 4 eyes or 6 eyes principle, for example. So let's create a process document. First, the necessary structured data is collected using a form. Forms are a popular input mechanism for templates that you have in these controlled documents in the wiki, and they are created directly by any user who is simply interested in creating these forms and who has looked into how these forms work. Here we can move on to an example for some type of IT documentation. This is somewhat a hybrid of structured content and regular knowledge base information. Page approvals and workflows here are not really necessary, but we see again these info boxes for collecting structured data via forms. IT administrators carry out various installations on customer systems. Of course, it is particularly important here that every access and change is documented so that colleagues can support each other seamlessly. Here too, the wiki ensures that despite the time pressures of our daily work, the tasks are carried out consistently and clearly documented in a comprehensible manner. And again, the combination of input via forms and flow text here are an unbeatable combination. I would also like to briefly look at the book functionality in BlueSpice. If I look for a page here in the wiki and it is part of a book, then as soon as I land on that page, I can see the corresponding book navigation displayed here on the left. This allows for a linear reading flow and creates a linear connection between wiki pages. And to maintain these books or create them, there is simply a comfortable book editor available directly here that allows every user to easily create these books and add pages and chapters as needed. In order to separate individual areas of the wiki from each other, the pages can be located in namespaces. This means that my knowledge base could be created directly in the main namespace, like in Wikipedia. And my controlled documents, for example, in the IMS namespace, my meeting minutes in the minutes namespace, and so on. Where the page lives is then always visible directly via the page's prefix. We still have a moment also to look at permissions management. Users are usually assigned to groups. This can be done directly in the wiki via the user administration. In many wikis, this group assignment often happens directly by connecting the wiki to the existing authentication mechanisms of the organization. In any case, there are usually user groups in the wiki, and each group can have different roles. This means that groups get special rights in individual namespaces. For example, I can determine here that only the IMS editor group in the IMS namespace has editing rights, and only the IMS approver groups can approve the pages here. And all the other groups are then automatically excluded and would have to be added one by one to also be able to do these actions. I could also authorize the system group for admins, sysop here, for example, as an editor in the IMS namespace again. Restricting reading rights in namespaces is also possible, but should be carefully considered. If this were the case for you and you wanted to restrict reading rights here, you would have to know the specific use case really in order to ensure that the content in this wiki is actually still in good hands, so to speak. It's often the case that the content has a higher level of confidentiality, so that these pages would be better placed in a separate wiki. Usually, a wiki should have the requirement that the knowledge that is shared and contributed in the wiki is easy to access by everybody in the company, both in reading and editing mode, and therefore permissions should be as open as possible so that everybody can really capture the company's collected knowledge. So time is already up. I hope that this initial insight helps you to appreciate knowledge management in a wiki, and that I was able to motivate you to find out more about BlueSpice. The easiest way to reach us is simply via our product website at bluespice.com. There is a lot of information about the features of BlueSpice and also a price calculator, so you can get an idea based on the size of your organization, what to expect here.